it had such a spinning around the world. Okay. So music from the 80s and the 90s, right? Rage Against the Machine. Oh, by the way, welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole, the podcast. Tonight, I'm just really pretty much going to be focusing on, we've got Mark Solo here, a couple of people have popped in a little bit. I'm really just going to do a quick, I'm going to do a rant tonight. What the podcast is before originally I was doing it on Instagram. And I'm going to turn on my Instagram here in a second. So I'm going to go on both platforms at the same time. And kind of like maybe I can, cut away from two different viewpoints and stuff and everything. So my podcast, I take the audio version and I put it on Anchor. And then from there, it goes to Spotify and a whole bunch of different places. And so I just, the reason why I really originally created this channel was because this was specifically to go along with the podcast. And by the way, if you want to follow me on Facebook, please do like me at Not My Rabbit Hole. Whew, it's hot in here. I don't know if you guys heard the fan earlier or not. Hi, Raven. It's good to see you. Hi, Raven. Awesome. And then we have Electro Pig is here and Mark Solo. Okay, so all the regulars, all us regulars are here. I really appreciate you for tuning in. I'm just going to do a podcast tonight. Also, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow night. It's taken me a really long time to do it because I've been working on registering for college and preparing to move. And, I've been a little bit distracted with making a change in my life. So, but I think it's for the better. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more once I log into Instagram here. You might hear me repeat things twice. Like I might just, hey, Babette, are you doing Section 8? Is that a thing now? Hey, Terry, yes, that's the topic. No, I'm not doing Section 8. Okay, but let me get onto Instagram first before I start talking about that, because that's the topic of my rant tonight. I'll probably go for about 30 minutes on the ranting part, as well with Instagram, and then I'll talk to you guys later because I'm just giving you the background of everything, what I'm doing tonight. Yeah, the Section 8 thing, I want to discuss this. And so let me log on to Instagram and I'll write that on Instagram too. See, why don't you just get on Section 8? Because somebody said that to me recently, all right? And I'm going to talk about that. And I've been thinking about how that feels. Like, just to have somebody tell you, why don't you just get on Section 8? Okay, but we'll go farther. We'll go farther with it. Not that it's bad if you are on Section 8. I don't want to judge you if you're on Section 8. So let me just verify that. I don't mean to be insulting to anybody. All right. Why don't you just get on Section 8? I'm trying to be humorous tonight. All right. So I hope that nobody will take offense to the things that I'm saying. Okay, so we're going to go live. Okay, so we're going to go live on Instagram here. Now, my Instagram, you're live. Great. Okay, welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole, the podcast on Instagram. Just so the people, I know I don't have friends yet who logged on Instagram, but just for you guys at Instagram, I'm double broadcasting this on my YouTube channel at the same time. Okay, so if you want to follow me on YouTube, I'm at Not My Rabbit Hole at Tere Joyce. And for my friends here tonight, I can see your guys' okay. No, they're still waiting on Instagram. I don't have the same kind of thing going on Instagram that I do here with you guys on Facebook. That's why I wanted to talk to you. So Electropig says, Daily Insanity, David Hodges reports that a 14-year-old in Colorado died, but not what you would expect. She died of the plague. Okay, so I guess the plague is making a comeback right now. Babat Kern says, you have a home. I wonder why they said that. Okay, yes. Okay. So just so you know, okay, yes. Sharapa. Okay, Steve Sharapa, thank you for being on my Instagram. I'm actually doing, I'm doing two different, Giovanni Sharapa. No, it's not Steve. Forgive me for calling you Steve. Another very funny comedian is watching on my Instagram. And I'm also broadcasting on my live stream on YouTube at the same time. Okay, so here's the deal. I've been going through kind of a transition in my life and everything. And originally, I knew I had to move. And originally, I was wanting to keep the RV. And so, I asked a friend of mine, I go, do you know any place that I might be able to park around this area? And he just was like, Tere, you just need to get on Section 8. You just need to get on Section 8. And, and just, it's just not happening for you. It's it's just not happening. And you just need to get on Section 8. And it just kind of it gave me this feeling like, that's it. Like that's all I'm going to do. Like at the end of my life, I'm just going to be on Section 8. I'm just going to be, on the government dime. We had the COVID. It's been the pandemic, and even to work as a comedian, nobody could do it, professionally because everything was closed. Now everything's opening up, right? Everything's opening up. People are going back to work. It looks better. But who knows what's going to happen now? But that's not where I want to focus when I'm talking about. Just the mentality of it. Just like I felt like, you're just an old cow, and why don't we just cow tag your labia, and just you can just go off and go to the slaughterhouse. And I want to talk about when I'm thinking about this and where I'm going with this is also just a sense of ageism with that. Like when you get to a certain age, and by the way, for the guys on Instagram that you might not know, oh, hey, Giovanni, Venice Beach, Normal Land. And hey, Michael Williams is there. And so you are a diamond. Thank you for calling me a diamond. I appreciate that. I'm a diamond in the rough. I've always said that. Yeah, I'm a diamond in the rough. I'm gonna come to my in my fullest potential as an older woman. And you know what? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Like, who's to say just because you reach a certain age as a woman, as a human being, as an entertainer or whatever, you have nothing more to contribute? Why don't you just sit down, get ready to get your, you're going to get on the Medicare, you're going to get on the Medi-Cal. And you know what, because it seems like, don't you have a feeling that when you get older, you're just kind of an expendable group of people anyways? I mean, talk about discrimination on people. We go into, there's these special groups, don't talk about these group and that group and blah, 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 blah. And there's no gender discrimination. But what about ageism? What about ageism? What about the feeling that, when you get older, people don't want to hire you as much, or that even when you want to better yourself, they'll still tell you something like, well, like, for example, Paul says, I'm looking fantastic. You're looking fantastic. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Guess what? I had a birthday on the 4th of July and I turned 59. I turned 51, 9. Okay. Yeah. Like, you know what? I have to say, I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm impressed that I still look this good. You know what I mean? Especially considering what I've went through. I'm like, wow, I look better than I expected to look at 59. All right. And maybe that sounds conceited, but whatever. You know what I mean? When you get to be my age, you're like, you know what? You look up in the mirror and go, I'm looking pretty freaking hot. I do me. Right. I mean, that's how I'm thinking. I'm like, what? Like for, so what? Right. You look damn good. Thank you. Thank you. And this is my real hair, by the way. This is my real hair. There's nothing fake. I want to feel empowered, as a person, instead of like just hiding back and say, oh, well, it's just over. Why don't I you just can't. And by the way, you just can't sign up. LOL. Yeah. You just can't sign. You're looking amazing, Terry. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I imagine you will end up very excellent journalists. We require those with your skills. Thank you, Babette. And by the way, thank you for bringing up journalism, because I am going back to college. All right. At the age of 59, I decided to go back to college. When I went to college before, and I've always been a good student. I've always loved learning. I was a theater arts major, and I did have good grades. I had a 3.77 grade point average when I left my college, and I went to go study acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Pasadena. So I stopped my education. I do come from a family that most of them have graduated. I'm one of the ones who haven't. Not that really matters. It really matters, but I thought about. See, I want to do stand-up again. I do want to do stand-up again. I would love to do stand-up again. All right. But here's the deal. I felt as a stand-up comedian that I had grown out of my act, and that I had grown as a person beyond the things that I was saying back then. Like you grow up a little bit and you have a different awareness. And I often think that, well, maybe the things that I'm going to say or want to say are not going to be as entertaining in, like, let's say people that are drinking and eating fried foods, and then also I joined a different type of media. Like I started, now this is my YouTube channel, and here I am. Here's Instagram, but I did radio in different places, and I became an activist, and I walked a different walk. I worked with nonprofits, and I wanted to document things and stuff like that. And I did I can't call myself a journalist because I'm not educated. I don't have a degree. And when you're doing investigative type of material, if you anybody could say, well, you're just a person with the $5 blog, and you're just a person here on YouTube saying whatever you're saying. But what if, because I had somebody say, they refer me to as being a journalist. I go, no, I'm not a journalist. I'm just a comedian. I'm just, that's it. But I thought, well, what if I did study it? Like, what if I did learn how to do it? Like how to investigate something? Like, what would be different if I had a degree in it? What if I became a better writer and I decided that maybe I wanted to write a book? Or what if I, decided that I wanted to write a screenplay? Because these are the classes I'm taking. I'm also taking a social media class so I can get better in social media. Maybe I'm starting it right now by doing two different things at the same time. But I thought, how do we connect with people? How do you connect in consciousness? Because that's where the game is played. It's not really about battling with somebody here and there and blah, 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 blah. Oh, great. It might be a great stand-up routine because we've had people that we've watched like George Carlin that we've learned from. And, there's some really great comedians that have been out there. But where do you really touch people at and make it so maybe we collectively come to a different way of doing things? Where do those things happen at? And so I thought, well, you know what? Why not get a degree? Why not be real? And even when you go on, let's say, age is just a number, never let that stop you. You motivate me daily. I've been trying to start my art business. Do it. Start your art business. I think too right now, because, we're coming out of a pandemic, or it's still continuing because we have the Delta variant going on. And then I'm hearing reports about like London. They have that device where it will give you let's say like, the tracer, right? The app that traces you, and then a bunch of people have been having to be sequestered, and now the food isn't being delivered and things are being stopped again. And it feels like maybe like we, like, just as people, we don't have a future. Like, like it's so overwhelming about what's going on. It's like, well, how do I feel like I can go forward in anything? And I think that that's when we say, you know what? All right, we just do it. Make a different decision. And so, but it was interesting I did get some negative remarks, because to me, it's better to go back to school and learn some skills. Even when I went to go apply for jobs, I go, oh, I could edit something. I love to edit something, but I didn't know the software. I don't know Adobe. I don't know how to work a lot of things. A lot of the things that I do on my YouTube channel, it's because I learned an app, or I learned StreamYard, or I can, all these, different things. There's software that I'll download, and I'll learn how to edit this and that and add music and everything like that. But you can't do anything on a professional level. You couldn't be, hired as a freelance person. Even if I wanted to say, hey, I know how to make social media pop, and I'd like to work for your company and do your social media. I have no degree in that. I don't know the software. I know how to relate to people on Facebook. I'm pretty good with the things that I've designed, but I just could know so much more. And I feel that if I can do that, then I can do this better, and I can give to you guys better. And by the way, if anybody wants to donate to my move, or for books or something like that, I'm at Hollywood. You can do that at Hollywood. My PayPal is hollywoodhempress@gmail.com. And write me a little note, like, for whatever it's for. And if you want me to, mention you on my show and give you a big thank you, because really, I'm doing this to be better at here. Now, I thought about something, because the college that I'm going to, I did star in some productions there. Like, I played Laura in the Glass Menagerie. All right, my only dramatic part that I've ever done, but I did that in my freshman year, in my first semester. I started thinking, I go, boy, I bet I might end up, who knows, I might end up in a production again. I might audition for something again. And I'm thinking, why not? Why not be inspired and make ourselves better? And you know what? We can be more beautiful, and we can, have life coming out of us, even though we're older. We can be sexy and have, things happen to us. I'm really concerned about how the women in the world, how they're like what we're doing to our lips, and how we're doing things to our faces. Like, we're free to let our face do what it's going to do, right? We're free to get old. We've been told to just uphold youthfulness, and yeah, it's great. I like staying youthful. I want to be healthy and look as good as I can, as long as I can. But I think that the fear, to be messing with all of this, like women, how like we've done things to our boobs, and like it's like we've always felt that we've never really been, good enough, really. And I don't mean like woe is me, but this is kind of things that this happens to girls. I don't know about guys. It's like, especially when you work in the entertainment business, you always have somebody telling you to lose weight, or, you're not Pamela Anderson, and you're not this, and you're not that, and you're not blah, 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 blah. And then you get old, and they're like, well, you know what? You're too old. And you're like, we can't use you. Like, you're funny, but you're too old, blah, 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 blah. Do you know that when I was on Last Comic Standing, I was 40 years old. It took me to 40 years old before I actually got into a TV show. And that's when people tell you, oh, well, that, 40, that used to be bad. That used to be, oh my God, you might as well just sit down, like it's just over for you. Where do you go after 40? Because, a lot of women are, projected into that, that kind of, ingenue, whatever. There's always these different categories of how we view people. and project them and put them and put them in movies and things. A lot of women here need to hear this. All the surgeries women have instead of letting natural beauty show. Again, you look damn good. Hard to believe you're 50. Oh, honey, I'm almost 60. I'm 59. I mean, I'm on that cusp. You know, it's like 59 is the new 29, right? You know, I'm 29. I'm 59. Oh, Shadow Band account. Welcome. Greetings and salutations to all. Eloquent 88 is saying is an internal propaganda to be youthful, but it's anti-natural. We're growing wise here. Yes, we are growing wise. Okay, so here's what somebody told me just like when I said that I was going to go back to college. They said, "Are you sure that you have the brain power at your age to do that? Are you sure that you have the brain power at your age to do that?" Was what I was like told. I'm like, okay, what do you mean do I not have the brain power? Like, what do you mean I don't have the brain power? Like, are we supposed to just lose it in our head too? Is this how we're viewed by society? Is this how we're viewing ourselves? That we don't have the brain power to go back and get educated? You know, that we can't enhance our lives, or, you know, or that we can't, or that we don't, that I could live possibly for another 20, 25 years. What am I going to do in those 20, 25 years? Am I just going to be on Section 8 and just sit back and go, you know what? I used to have a possibility. I used to be a contender. I used to be somebody, right? No. What is Act 3? What is Act 3? What is the next level of what's possible right now? And almost 60, you look like 38, 42. Thanks. I feel that way. I mean, I think I look about that age too. Like I'm kind of like if you were like, maybe, you know, you might cast me that way in a film. Like I'm 38, I'm 42. I'll go with 42. I'll even go with 45. I'll even go with 50. You know what I mean? I mean, but you know, on a bad day, I mean, you know, sometimes you wake up and you go, wow, I look like 50. I look like 50 and I feel like 50. But, you know, you stretch and drink some water and have a little coffee and smoke a little herb if you have to or whatever, you know. I got to stop that. Anyway, so I have decided to also, because you know how before I was going to go, and maybe you guys don't know that. Maybe you don't know it. Maybe you don't know it. I was going to do something called Off-Grid Comic, and I bought a domain, and, you know, I was going to do a series of videos about living off-grid, and the off-grid thing is off right now. I'm actually going to be moving back into a place, you know, a real house, and rent a room while I go to college. And so my background will change. You know, but I think it's best. I think it's best to do it that way. And anyway, I just wanted to share that with you about ageism and the new website. And some of you guys, maybe some of the guys may not want to go over there because it's going to be more women oriented on the new site, but still you're more than welcome. But I bought a new website called dazzlingsenior.com. And I just want to do things like maybe hair tutorials and makeup tips and talk about my experiences of going back to school at an older age and moving on, and maybe being maybe bringing a little inspiration or being a better example of how we can live differently in a different way. So I'm gonna look over here at Instagram to see what some people are saying. Nomad land, yes, that's true. that's I wanted, because I am like, I really like the concept of actually having an RV, and also, like, moving it around and being able to do things and be off grid if we had to. Like, what if the shit really did happen, right? How are you going to live? Like, I still do have a generator. I have a solar generator to power up anything, and I'm going to probably keep the solar generator and some of my solar stuff that I did buy, just in case. I was telling my aunt, I think they might have a place for me to store it and keep it and stuff like that. But this is the problem is, like, let's say you want to move into an RV park. The ones that I looked at, they said that they go, how old is it? Like, if it's too old, they won't take it. Well, maybe just show us a picture of it. And I'm like, okay, well, if I've got something too old and it's starting to leak and everything like that, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should just, like, let this one go because it's a little too old for me to handle. Oh, that sounds bad. I don't mean to toss away my RV like an old cow, like a going to the RV slaughter. Hopefully somebody buys it that wants to put some, love and care, or it serves a really good purpose for somebody else. But I just think that if I'm going to go into the RV world at some point, that I should have a newer type of vehicle and not make it so much of a struggle. So, Electropig got another broken lottery ticket, so I'm going to keep living the same way. So I'm just looking at some of the things you guys are saying before I go. Okay, I just kind of wanted to let you know that I'm this podcast is basically about a reboot in life that I'm doing right now, and then again, this is just the podcast that I do. So I can see, like, on here, I've dropped some people. Like, they've gone, oh, she's not talking about other things that we want to, like, criticize her for. That's probably what's happening. It was like, okay. All right. So I'm gonna say goodbye here on Instagram, and then continue a little bit here on my live stream on YouTube. So if you want to join me over here on the YouTube channel, you can. It's Not My Rabbit Hole with Tere Joyce on YouTube. And then over here on Instagram, I want to thank you for tuning in. Yes, no, I'm not going on Section 8. All right. And I do believe that I have the brain power to go back to college and watch me get really good grades. Okay, so just wait for that. And why don't we as people break the mold and the stereotype, and have a different attitude towards the elderly generation? Because look, I'm Generation X, right? And you guys didn't hear because we can't play music over here, but over here I opened with Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of. And I love that line where it says, fuck you, I'll do what I want. And those people that were screaming that at concerts and going, fuck you, I won't do what you want. Those people now qualify for an AARP card. All right. God bless and good night. Okay, so and I'm going to share this here. Okay, so I just posted that on my Instagram. So that's going to go out on Instagram. So that's that show. All right. And then I might, if I do something else, I might cut away from the two different types of footages. Okay, so I'm going to just take this off right here. All right, so I wanted to just talk about a few things. Oh, Michael Williams, hi. Shadow Band account says, I love the idea of the RV. I think one thing I do worry about is the end of the gasoline engines on the road. Wow, I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's a gas guzzler. Another thing about this particular RV is that it has the tires are like 16.5s and they don't make them anymore or something like that. So it's like, I don't know where we get the tires replaced. I mean, that's what my friend Franchi San Pedro did. I did do some footage of Franchi showing me how to, do things and everything. But I'm kind of afraid of even that where I'm going to, it's not going to make it there. It may not make it. I mean, I can't take it over the Grapevine. Because from here to Northern California, you go up the 5 and over the Grapevine. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Wow, another thing that's happening is we're having fires are going on right now. That's not good. All right, so couple things about I want to talk about what we talk about on this channel. One thing I want to mention, and I'll do another show about this and share things. But Sean Atwood had his channel taken down. It's back up again though. Okay, so a lot of things have been happening, and I know I haven't been talking to you guys for a while, and it's good to be back here and live stream a little bit with you. And really the reason why I haven't been here is because there's just so much, and I'm just trying to get into place and make this change. And moving is always a chore and a task. And, and really literally, I thought about, I'm going to college like 3 weeks ago, or not even then, almost like 2 weeks ago. I think I even applied on July 13th, and I've gotten Pell Grants and everything. Like it went boom, 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 boom. So, when something goes fast like that, it's like, oh, it must be, this is the right path. I mean, this is what, I really need to be doing right now. So, and again, I want to continue doing live streams. I think my work that I do is going to blend over into this broadcast. And I'm going to be able to do some of the stuff that I'm doing in class, and I can transfer it to my blog. And some of the topics that really pertain to us, like maybe Buanon. Like, who knows? Maybe I'll do a whole report on an analysis of Buanon from my point of view. That hasn't been seen yet in a different way. Okay, so a couple things. Speaking of Buanon, the Asian cooking channels, right? And the Indian cooking channels that's had Simon Parks and all those guys on it, and Mel K. I've covered that here. They had another channel up, right? And I just couldn't stand it. I'm like, here they are again on this Asian channel, spewing this stuff. That right now, in the United States, we have Joe Biden coming out, going on, they're calling me a Satanist, and they're saying that the Democrats are drinking blood. Okay, so you know where that's going. It's insane. All right, and then how is it being perpetuated? How has it came out? It came out through the UFO community. I know, like, some of them are cast off. Some of them are cast off to BitChute to die, right? I'm sorry to say to BitChute to die, but like BitChute and some of these other channels, Telegram. I guess it's Rockfin. I was thinking about maybe checking out and getting on one of these other channels like Rockfin or something. But once you're there, you've got the stamp on your forehead. Okay, Peter Parker, you're gonna have to leave this. You're gonna have to leave the chat. Sorry, we don't accept that kind of language here in my show. And you're probably a ringer that's trying to like make it look like those are the things that I'm talking about on my channel, and they're not. Okay, because here's where the cyberbullying laws are coming into. And I didn't really want to totally go there right now, but one of the things that happened before Sean Atwood lost his channel, what was that stuff? Michael Williams, yeah. What was that stuff? Yeah, that was a troll. That was, and it looked like it was a bot. Because they're probably trying to like make me look like I belong to those people, and I don't. I don't belong to them. And so that is an actual sign of purposeful trolling to throw you into a certain type of category. Richard Stallman, that made my stomach turn. Wow. You know what? I'm sorry that even showed up. But as you can see, I automatically blocked them, and they're going by the name Peter Parker, which of course that isn't that Spider-Man's name. So it's falling into the you know, that whole Superman, Uberman kind of genre of comic book kind of stuff. That, let's just say it, that even the super soldiers that come out in this world kind of mirror that kind of thing, right? So who knows? But that is an example of cyberbullying, really. That right there is an example of cyberbullying, of a troll coming in and being a part of somebody's chat. Terry, you're awesome. Thank you, Michael. It's not your fault. Yeah, no. Oh, thank you. Yeah, but look, this is what we're witnessing. Because where the cyberbullying goes in terms of YouTube. The reason why. Okay, one thing I'm going. Okay. Sean Atwood took down like 40%. Oh, it's back again. Look at this. Okay, this looks like, the way they look, that looks like Hoaxstead. That looks like Hoaxstead. Oh, they're back up again. Block. That's Hoaxstead. That's what Hoaxstead does. 2% poo in my testicle. Oh my God, this is so weird. Oh, I put him on a timeout, and I meant to put him on a full block. We'll just still with it for a while. We'll just let it happen. This is cyberbullying. This is probably Hoaxstead. This is the kind of stuff that they do, or whatever. Look how it's like a bot. Okay. Like, did you see how like 5 of it pops up at once? It's trippy. Malibu Sky, get out of here. Who's Malibu Sky? I'm not seeing that one. That's weird. Okay, so look at this. Okay. Gone. That's so disappointing. That is so disappointing to see this happening. Did you see how vile that is? I'm not even going to repeat it. But it's sexual, and it's sexual harassment. So, where is this coming from, and why? What did I say right now that causes that to happen? What, because I talked about Sean Atwood's channel going down? And because he had like 40% of the material that he took down had to do with SRA, and I'm not talking about Miss Adams, right? The reason why YouTube and the reason why it can be considered cyberbullying is because when you talk about somebody's religion and you put a attitude on the people that of their religion, like if you said, okay, so let's say somebody, is a Luciferian or somebody's a Satanist, to say that they are guilty of the other stuff, the stuff that Buanon talks about, or the stuff that Joe Biden said that Buanon is saying about them. Okay, they're back again. And it's so gross. That was just so vile. That right there, the words that this is sexual assault right here on my YouTube channel. That's sexual assault that's happening in my chat right now. That is an example of cyberbullying. That is an example of, putting dirty words in front of a woman on her channel. That is an offense on YouTube. That is what YouTube needs to be aware of. Here's another one. Hey, Androgyne. It says, I want to double stuff that CUNT. Androgyne, you're talking about cyberbullying. You should check out my chat right now. I'm just repeating what they're doing. It's happening to me right now. Now, this is why people should not be allowed to be on YouTube doing this. I'm blocking. Mark Sallow. It's something to do with Buanon. Malibu Sky threatened Betty Washam ad nauseum. I don't know who those people are. But it's a bot. Somebody's put a bot in here and they're harassing my channel while I'm talking about cyber harassment. Okay, so here's the deal. Here it is again. I just keep doing it. Okay. We'll just let it go. You know what? I almost feel like playing a song. YouTube is too busy shutting down good channels instead of dealing with the trolls. This is true. I'm not Boo. Ask me a question, I will answer it. You know what? Cool, calm. I don't know why you're calling yourself Boo, but you just said I want to double stuff that. Okay, so you're I don't know who it is. My thought is it's probably Hoaxstead. And I'm not going to talk about them anymore. Or maybe it's not. It's somebody that's cyberbullying me right now on my channel. For what reason? What did I say? What did I say? You missed the show, Rudy Roo. I was doing a podcast, but right now, don't give it power. Okay. So when I see it, I'll just block it. Right? We'll just continue to block it. All right. I'll just continue to block it. Okay, so let me help you, lady. Put slow mode on this all ends. What is slow mode? I don't know what that is. What's slow mode? What's slow mode? Explain that. What does slow mode mean? I'm working from StreamYard, so I don't know how to. I don't think StreamYard puts that allows me to do that. So I mean, I don't think I have the option of doing something on slow mode. So I can't. Is it hot? Are you guys hot right now? Because it's like really hot in here. It's kind of going on. Anyway, so I'm gonna call this to an end here pretty soon, because I really was only just gonna do my I already did my rant that I'm going to cut away for and upload onto Anchor. So I was just kind of experimenting with doing it on Instagram and doing it here. Tomorrow night, Jim Wrench says that he's an undercover special ops. But you just told us that if you're an undercover special ops, then why are you telling us that? Because if you're undercover, aren't you still not supposed to be telling us that? But anyway, I'm tracking them down right now. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it. They stopped. They won't bother you anymore. All right, thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. It's good to have undercover special ops working with you to stop the trolls from coming onto the channel. I don't mean any harm right now. All right, I'm going to tell you that right at the moment. All I'm talking about is what's going on with censorship. And I had done some shows on Sean Atwood and about the stuff that was going on, the bullying that he was getting. And also, I noticed that Sean had taken down a lot of his videos, and I had mentioned that on some of my shows, and I noticed that he had taken some videos down. I asked him about it, and he said it was because YouTube was cracking down on people talking about SRA. There was a Deepak Chopra, thank you. God loves you. We love you, Terry. Thank you. They are gone. I'm saying prayers for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will say prayers for you too. Thank you. And then Eloquent 88, you need to learn tools to cancel the trolls. Good you didn't react to it. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I mean, they just need to go. And those are all bots and stuff, but it is distracting. It's disturbing to see it happen. That and wonder, well, why is it happening? Like, why? I mean, so, but I want to get back to the topic of cyberbullying, of, on the censorship aspect. What is cyberbullying according to YouTube? What is it that we're facing here right now in terms of what we're talking about and how we can talk about it? There are limits here of what we can say on YouTube. There are limits of what we can say on Facebook. There are, the censorship is getting really thick, and it was disturbing. It was disturbing to watch Sean Atwood's channel go down. And it was really disturbing to see it happen after he had done the reconciliation with Andrew Gein, and they did a show. And I thought it was really informative. Now I've got my own personal thoughts about things, but I'm not going to share them here because I don't want to. What does it matter really? Because when you're looking about like how is it that we shouldn't be cyberbullying people? what you saw right there of the bots and stuff like that, that's an example of cyberbullying. Another example of cyberbullying is when a bunch of people collectively vote your videos down, or they collectively say nasty things to you. They talk about your gender, they talk about your ages, and they talk about the way you look at in the comments. Those are all elements of what cyberbullying is on YouTube. I think it's called brandishing. When you're hitting somebody's channel, when they're collectively saying, oh, let's vote them down, or let's get them reported, or let's get rid of them. That is a form of cyber harassment that's not acceptable. If you are a host and you're just constantly talking about one person over and over again, and everything that you talk about is them, like what they were doing, some of the channels were doing to like Sean Atwood, that is considered cyberbullying. If you were just, if your entire thing is just, make a one person, your channel isn't like about anything else, and you're focused on harming another person potentially, that is considered cyberbullying. And the reason why YouTube, my hair right here, the reason why YouTube has the right to take a channel down, because they are talking about SRA or something like that, is because if you're blaming that on a group of people because of their religion, which technically some people says that activity doesn't exist, it's simply satanic panic. Although that's open for discussion, because there are things in historical history that have happened that people back in like the 14th century, like there's this knight that let me look at it. I'll show you in a second. The last name is Giles. There was the satanic knight ended up I saved it in my watched list. I'll show you in a second, but there's an argument about it, right? Whether or not it's true or not. All right. I think you have to really prove. You can't just say that it's not true, but you can't just but how YouTube is seeing it is that you're pointing at a selective group of people and saying they're guilty of it, and maybe they're not guilty of it. You have to take these things. I mean, like, just because somebody's practicing something doesn't mean that they're doing the other thing either. All right. I mean, like you have to allow that buffer to come in, that the perception of stuff doesn't just get like the finger just doesn't get pointed. And that's why YouTube has the right to do it. Because it's considered, because you can't say, well, gee, all the Jewish people are doing this, or all the Protestants are doing this, or all the Christians are doing this. The Christians over there are guilty of that. It could be the same way. Like, oh, the Christians, oh, they're white supremacists. That's just as wrong to just say, well, that's a group of people that we collectively just have to say because they believe in, they practice, they're Christians. They're also guilty of blank, blank, blank and voting for Trump and this and that. That's a stereotype. That's a stereotype based on somebody's religion. That is what YouTube has to protect people against. And that is what, and collectively, and so does the religion of Satanism, because all religions are recognized. And so that's how they're doing it. Now you can agree with it or you can not agree with it, but that's why they're doing it. That's why the channels are getting shut down. And there is a witch hunt on it. Now, the thing that bothers me about it, and I'm going to say it right now, is that along with that was the letting go of talking about the man who didn't kill himself. All right. And I'm not talking about McAfee. All right. I'm talking about the other guy, right? The one that's connected to Les Wexner and all that kind of stuff. There is that topic too. YouTube is being selective about which people they're going to allow to say those things. For example, it seems like, Sean Atwood was under the heat. He dumped all that material because the entire topic is not okay. And I don't really think that somebody should have to, like, if it's in the media, what, only CNN and the BBC can talk about it. You can't have another person person who's, has a podcast called True Crime Podcast that can't do their own, analysis on the topic. And then, for example, if you tune into 60 Minutes Australia, then you have, they're talking about, SRA abuse that happened in 1989 and uploading that footage to it, or they're talking about Epstein or whatever. But YouTube will decide who they want to have say it and who they don't want to have say it. It seems like. But I mean, if you're gonna say, okay, not everybody can talk about it, then why don't you just take everybody's stuff down? Don't just target one person and say, oh, well, they're not allowed to investigate it or talk about it as maybe it's being real or not. I mean, Epstein, come on. Okay, I said the name, right? That's my opinion. I think that's the American way. Like YouTube has selected discrimination. Meanwhile, Mel K and what's his face and blah 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 blah. They do their they I don't know how. I guess they're buying into the Asian cooking channels. And they're still there. Charlie Ward. They're still there spewing this stuff in everybody's ear, and those are the people that are mainly the reason why we're getting censored so hard. It's the lack of integrity, about the lack of fact checking, the lack of actually looking into something to see if it's double true or not, the lack of allowing things to be spewed under a banner and allowed to be associated with one political party in the United States is bad. All right. And so I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just sharing with you what happened. And how things have gone down since I reported on those particular topics. When it comes to like Sean Atwood, and Andrew Gine has been doing a lot of reporting about this particular topic, and there's a cyberbullying group and this and that. But underneath all of that is kind of a loophole to stop real free speech on some things. I think some topics should be allowed to be talked about it, especially when it's already in the public domain. And if you are bringing on guests, or you have people, or you have information, or you're able to communicate the newest breaking news about what's going on, you should be allowed to do it if it's an actual real case in the public domain. And I don't think YouTube should be discriminating people for doing that. And they also did it to Lee Camp, the comedian Lee Camp, who did a show where he talked about, and I showed you the video about it on my last video, where Lee Camp talked about how Bloomberg had an association with the man who didn't hang himself. And YouTube gave him a strike for cyberbullying. He appealed it. They said, oh, well, we took this a little too harsh. We're going to take the strike back, but we're still going to delete your video. So they're still stopping. They're not going to penalize him so that he's going to lose his channel, but they're still stopping the information from getting out to people. And that's disturbing. That's disturbing to me. I don't know about if it's disturbing to you, or, maybe you think, oh, well, that's, you should just shut up about the whole topic and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But when it comes to that case, when it comes to the fact that, Miss Maxwell is ready to go to trial, and it's still in the forefront of everything, when it's an unsolved mystery, All right. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's really happening. It's not like just, I don't see how you're talking about a protective group of people that falls underneath a religion or this and that and blah, 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 because we're not talking about that. We're talking about something that actually really looks like it happened. And you know, you can't just sit back and go, oh well, it just never happens. That's just a complete conspiracy. It never really exists. It does exist to a certain extent, but even like, you can't say that the man who really didn't hang himself, right? You can't say that that was SRA. There's not an SRA link to it. It's not about those kind of things. It is something different. Anyway, Michael, Richard says it breaks my heart, Terry. Michael Williams, I would like to talk to you about some things that I've been wondering about, but not on here. Yeah. Yeah, no, we can't, you know, like, unfortunately, it's like we have to do, like, you know, signing and code words. Okay, and then, and now Fox News has the girl room back from 45. So, well, you know what? They went away. It's kind of like having a really bad headache when they show up, right? It's like, oh, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's like, oh, they're gone. Whew. I don't know. Tell me, if I turn this on, does that make a noise? Does it make a noise? I don't know. Hopefully it's okay. All right. So before I go, though, I want to show you something. Let me go into my YouTube for a second. I want to find that. I won't play any of this video. But I won't play any of this video, or I'll play very little of it. But I just want to show you it. My library. Okay, yeah, here he is. Here it is. Okay. Just so you see it for a second. Because this is like a historical guy. And the reason why I want to show it to you is because... Okay, it's called the Devil Worshipping Knight, Giles de Raz. All right, let me just kind of expand this bigger for you. All right. Now, I'm gonna put this video in the description. And the reason why I'm showing it to you is because historically this particular knight was let me enlarge this right here for a second. The devil worshipping knight, Giles de Raz, was associated with Joan of Arc. Like, he was this amazing warrior knight, and he went to battle with Joan of Arc, and they did everything that happened there, and then of course we know what happened to Joan of Arc, but after that, he became really, really, really wealthy. And I think he was already born into wealth, but he was like super, super wealthy. And then he decided to invest a bunch of money in this big theater production. And all of the actors had to have these elaborate costumes. And the costumes were they had to have a brand new one made for them every night, and the people that went to the play got fed booze and food, and it was all free. And what was happening is he was just losing his money. He was losing his estate, and they put the clamp on him. They go, you can't be doing this anymore, and blah 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 blah. So he wanted to make money, and so he got involved with the occult. This allegedly, this is what they say, he got involved with the cult. He bought this church that apparently they found all these, children under, and they discovered him, and then they tortured him, and in the end they burned him at the stake for really practicing this satanic cult, and basically an occult, like devil worshiping cult that he ended up going to trial for. And this is a real case, right? They say this really happened. And then what was interesting about it is some people argue that was all hearsay, that he had enemies that wanted to blame him for those things. And so I just thought it was interesting. Same thing with the Knights Templars. When the Knights Templars, and they said that they were worshiping the Baphomet, and with Jacques de Molay, and they all they were kissing the head of John the Baptist, and or whatever. They were just practicing these really dark rituals. And so Friday the 13th basically means that they also got burned at the stake. But there's also that belief that those theories were made up, that those things were like made up in order to persecute people when they really weren't guilty of it. There's that argument too. And that's why I'm bringing it up, because I think even it hasn't really changed today. There's this thing where they go, oh, well, this is actually going on and this is really happening. And they go, oh, no, that's made up. I'm just being persecuted for this. And again, I do understand the argument of that. You can't just assume because somebody practices a religion that you don't agree with, that you can just automatically assume that all people that are doing that are just doing that. I understand the legality of that. I understand the reason why that's the way that they're going to pull the rug from under you. But I don't think it's okay to impose those kind of laws or censor people who are talking about a real case that's in the public. If you're joking about it, if you're saying something about it that you're even mentioning it, I'm even afraid to mention it right now. I'm going, oh, the man who that they said he didn't really kill himself, and it's not John McAfee. I mean, now we have John McAfee. How many people are we going to say oh yeah, they didn't kill themselves? I would never kill myself. What John McAfee had something tattooed on him, I would never kill myself. And then now he's they're saying that he killed himself. How do you not question that or wonder, well, did he or what? Well, he even tattooed on himself that he wouldn't do it, but did he? Joan of Arc did not do barbecue well. That's funny. No noise. Okay, good. The fan has no noise. Good. Then the fan stays on from now on, because it's when I turn it off, it gets too hot, and then it's uncomfortable, and I'm sweating and doing whatever. What do you think about that? I mean, do you agree with me? You don't agree with me? What I mean? I hope Sean Atwood doesn't mind that I say that, I think he should be allowed to talk about the man who didn't hang himself. Okay, the man who didn't kill himself, right? I think that I think that material that he did on that topic should be allowed to be on YouTube. I even tweeted about it today. I even said something on Facebook about it. I think that should be acceptable on YouTube. I do. I think if you're talking about it like the way that Lee Camp was talking about it, or if you're writing a blog about it, or you're covering the topic on it too, you're following the details, or maybe you're interviewing somebody that's involved with it or whatever, you're doing your own investigation on it, I think that should be allowed on YouTube if it's done from an educational way. If you're like, for example, I'm talking about this, this devil worshiping knight. All right, this is basically, let's look at this again. All right, this is history profiles. This is history profiles. All right, this is history. It's not conspiracy. That's history. Somebody in history was blamed, was a knight who actually theoretically was sacrificing children in order to make more money because he lost it on this theater project that he was in and went crazy with his finances that could never really get together. And then he ends up being tortured and burned and, condemned as a devil worshiping knight. And even then they said, well, his enemies just depicted him that way because they wanted to get rid of him. So there's an argument. There's always an argument about the topic. And I'm going to leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. That it's a controversial topic. It's something that YouTube is cracking down on. It's something that is being projected into something that's playing out in American politics, and we call it booing-on, capped by booing-on. Why did booing-on happen? Okay, because of the fact, and it trails in this particular topic, is because there were certain people that came out on the scene. One of them isn't alive anymore, and they call him Judas, right? I'm talking in code. He came out on the scene and he was careless, and he said booing-on, and he said MAGA, and it was tagged and associated with our last politics that is still playing out today. And my feeling is that it's become a witch hunt to anything that is it's meant to be a blanket on everything in many ways. And I think we need to also pull this back and get into the real reality of there should be certain things on YouTube that we should be able to have a critical thinking and a dialogue about it for educational purposes, especially if it's a topic that's being covered like that in the mainstream media. And a comedian like Lee Camp should be able to make reference to it and make a joke about it without having to have the video taken all the way down altogether. Because when that's being done, it feels like, I'm just going to say what it feels like. I might be wrong, but it feels like it's being taken in a way because some of it might be true. And would these big tech companies be involved with stopping the dialogue of what might be true? And I'm not going to say, one way or another that I'm positive that that's what they're doing. But it's really hard to wonder if that's not really what's taking place. All right. So I want to tell you a couple of things before I go. Michael Williams. I got banned on a site for talking about history that mainstream media was talking about. I talked about it and got banned. It was historic truth. Yeah, that's disappointing. That if it's a historical truth, to get banned for talking about it, then that's not okay. That's like burning books. That's like just deleting information because it doesn't agree with some people that want to continue doing something or they want to cover it up. I mean, what is the purpose of it? That sounds like a name of a play, The Man Who Didn't Kill Himself. It does. All quote, "The man who didn't kill himself." Yeah, it does. Okay. I know this is a late one. I kind of like being late because it allows me to all right, do you want to see something else I've been looking at? Okay, maybe just one thing that I've been staring at because I know you guys follow some of this stuff. Brian Harvey, of all people, is back on YouTube. He's BHT TV is back up, and his stuff is always really interesting. Right now, he's going off on a guy named Ian Pudick, and I don't really know the whole story on that. I'm sure you guys probably do. Oh, Michael Williams, it's awesome seeing you on live. Oh, thank you. Well, Michael, you've been showing up on the Instagram, but the software here is a lot better. And I did lose a channel. I did lose my other YouTube channel, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I know, like Rudy Roo was like, well, how come Sean, got his channel back and you didn't get yours? Well, I didn't appeal to have my channel come back. I mean, I kind of feel like digitally just, washing a lot of the things off. It's like kind of like how I felt about my stand-up act. It's like I outgrew my stand-up act, and I kind of outgrew some of the things that I've said on my past channels. In terms of how, and now, and I'll still show other stuff that I did in the past. Like there are some things that I've done that will stand the test of time. Some topics don't stand the test of time. They're just topical and they're just in that moment. Or there's some, but there's some things that can be done that are, that I'd like to have as part of something for people to look at, like a catalog of topics and things that I do like that I've done. But I don't feel bad. At first, I don't feel bad about losing my other channel. In a sense. And again, I'm taking that marketing social media class. So, there's a whole branding thing, but it's like I'm going to go through metamorphosis, and how I'm going to do things. And hopefully you guys will stay with me. And we can continue. Now, the next show that I'm going to be doing is tomorrow night. And I'm going to talk about John Irwin. And I hope to have John Irwin on as a guest. I've been trying to nail a date down in the future, but hopefully maybe after he sees my analysis on my next show about him. John Irwin, if you don't know, was in the UK Special Forces, and he was an assassin, or he had a certain technique. He went on a special assignment in Jaruba in Egypt, where he found some technology that was ancient but ahead of its time, and so I interviewed him before. Sean Stone and Michael Williams. I don't know if you know this, but Sean Stone is the son of the director Oliver Stone. And Sean Stone is in this kind of media, which is considered the alternative, or UFO conspiracy, or truth media. It has all kinds of different titles to it. But Sean Stone was on conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura. And in a way, Oliver Stone is really kind of a conspiracy director. He's done JFK, and he's kind of in that pop culture beat. By the way, Sean Stone played the movie JFK. He played the attorney's little boy who was investigating the death or the killing of JFK. So that was Sean Stone. So Sean Stone met with John Irwin. They optioned a movie based on his book, Now, but ultimately, Sean Stone wanted to change the time period, because this happened in the UK during the 1950s. And it was British, and they wanted to make it to Afghanistan and have the character be American and have a story been said. And John Irwin said, well, that's not my story. So they just kind of paid him off for the deal that they had to take the script and do the story the way they want to do it. Now, I don't know why they wanted to change the script that way, or what the interest of that was. I'm kind of curious. Maybe they didn't think that in 1950s, that this happened. And like we've had technology. There's been knowledge of technology, like ancient technology, way back in the 50s. Anyway, it's the interview, which I'll go over some with you guys tomorrow on certain pieces, just to kind of recap and bring it up to speed. The reason why John Irwin is so interesting to me in relation to this community is that Miles Johnston. The first time I found out about John Irwin is because I interviewed Miles Johnston, and then John Irwin made a comment on it and says that's not right. Like Miles Johnston talked about all this black goo stuff associated with him and everything. That's not how it happened. And I said, well, do you want to come on my show and tell your story? And so he did, the way he wanted to tell it, not the way Miles Johnston was telling it. And so that right there's already a discrepancy of how Miles Johnston will take somebody or take one of his guests and then fabricate something around it that's not really true around the person. I'm beginning to think that maybe John Irwin is like one of the only people that maybe is the real deal on what he says. He did have a film option, and it makes you wonder why Miles Johnston has to keep altering the story of John Irwin. There's also, like, for example, I'm going to bring this up too. Sandra DeRoy came out when she was doing commentary on her channel about Max Spears. She brought John Irwin into that scenario too, and made some claim that John Irwin had choked or went to go choke Miles Johnston, and then John Irwin has denied that and said that that's not true either. So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm thinking, well, how come so many people have to make up stories around him too? Like, there's always somebody who's saying, well, John Irwin did this and blank, 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 but it's not true. Like, why are they fabricating stories beyond what the person themselves is saying? And let me tell you something. It already sounds bizarre anyways, right? When you listen to what he says, I think, I'll not say it sounds bizarre, but I think there's a group of people who would not want to believe that something like that would be possible. And yet it must be possible if the son of one of our best directors, our best American directors that we, esteemed director, son, is going to want to pick up a story about it. Like, if they're going to do a movie like based on a true story, there has to be a certain element of, if it's autobiographical about somebody's life, there has to be a certain element of truth to it. Otherwise, you can't claim it as based on a true story. Right? So why are these people who are in this media, and I'm beginning to think like what I'm talking about here is fringe, right? Because to me, Miles Johnston is fringe. I know there's some sort of UFO camp going on, or there's this and that, blah, 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 blah. But he's fringe in the sense that he doesn't have integrity in his reporting of past guests. And he doesn't have integrity in the people that he chooses to put in front of a camera and say, oh, well, this is part of the truth media. That's what I think. That's what I think. So anyway, I don't want to give it all away tonight because I want you to come in tomorrow and join me tomorrow night with about John Irwin. And Electropig says, like the bad dag battery. Interesting. Electropig, still a better outcome than Steve Irwin. Who's Steve Irwin? I don't even know who that is. Sean Stone hangs out with Sasha Stone. Oh, no. Oh, of course they do. Of course they do. No, I've had problems with Sean Stone because Sean Stone was doing 107 stuff. 107 or whatever. So, Sean has associated himself. He's been writing on the cusp of the 17th letter of the alphabet too. And it's like if you're gonna dip your hand in that pot, then how do you dip your hand into the pot of legitimacy? That's, but you know what? Who am I to judge, right? Okay, what time tomorrow night? I think I set the show for 9:30. 9:30 tomorrow night. So it'll be 9:30 PDT Pacific Daylight Time. And okay, one last thing. I guess we're having some fires in California again. And I feel bad because I find out because a person that I became friends with on Facebook from Oslo, Norway, says you have things burning up there. And I'm like, I do. I feel bad. But apparently there's some fires that are not too far away from Paradise, which was where Jeff Reed, another person in our community, lost his house in. So prayers to those who are out in California burning up again in fires. And just wanted to let you know about you guys. Thank you for being with me on recording the podcast and when I was doing it on Instagram. So I'll be uploading parts of that to Anchor. And the audio version of my podcast, because there'll be an audio version, is on Anchor and on Spotify. So, follow me there if you'd like to as well. And then I've got other things. I'll like if you go in my description, there's Google Play and there's other places to listen to that podcast. And I'm going to get back going on my blog, but it's notmyrabbithole.com. And that's it. Sweet. I'll be here. Great. It'll be good to see you, Michael. Oh, by the way, Michael is an artist too. So I just want to mention that he has some very nice drawings, and he's on Instagram as well. So check him out. So I've got Michael Williams, Shout About Account, Marcelo Raven, TW, Rudy Rue is here, Deepak Chopra. I don't know. I'd like to think that was really Deepak Chopra, but even so, whether you're the real Deepak Chopra or not, it was nice to have you be here. I love you too, Deepak. And Eloquent 88, Jim Wrench, thank you for being here, and thank you for. You know what? Right after you said that you were part of Special Ops and you were on it, they were gone. So I appreciate that. For being here and taking care of the trolls. Shadow Band account. And let's see. Babette Kern. Babette, thank you for being here tonight. I always like seeing you in the chat and seeing you on Facebook. And that's all I see, you guys. I think there might be some people who are watching, but they're not talking, which is okay. Somebody came to me yesterday, and I through Instagram, and they said I'm a silent watcher, and so I know that there's some people out there that aren't talking in the chat, but you're watching. So all of you, take care, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.